In this video, we will look at the Tulu collective housing project and discuss which aspects of the design contribute to make it an affordable solution. We will do this from the perspective of two stakeholders involved, the developer and the residents, but also from two different temporalities, the construction of the project and its future maintenance. Let us start with one of the key aspects that determines affordability from the perspective of the developer. How many dwellings can be produced on the available site? This question concerns a crucial factor in housing design, namely density. In this project, 287 units were created on a site with a total area of around 9,100 square meters, which equals approximately to 0.91 hectares. This means that this project has a density of more than 300 dwelling units per hectare. Considering that each unit can accommodate up to 5 persons, we can conclude that the project caters for a remarkably high residential density, potentially above 1,000 persons per hectare. This high density is primarily caused by the small floor plan area of each dwelling unit. The most predominant type has a floor plan area of just only 40 square meters. The compact configuration of the building also helped in increasing the density. The circular layout of the main housing block, with an outer diameter of 72 meters and the square lower block placed in the center of the project site, make an efficient use of the available space. Another key aspect to determine the affordability of a housing project, or any other project for that matter, is the cost of building it. A crucial factor here is the cost of land, which is often, if not always, determined by the project's location. In this case, the developer acquired a vast area of land for the development of middle-income housing, but the public authorities required him to include affordable units for low-income people. Unfortunately, as is often the case in similar situations, the developer assigned the least favorable and cheaper location next to the highway for the construction of the low-income dwellings, which is the Tulu collective housing project that we are analyzing in this course. The height of the building is limited to a maximum of 7 floors. According to the local building regulations, this height does not require the use of elevators, which can be seen as another design decision that affects the affordability of the project, both in the construction phase as well as in its maintenance. Next to this, the architect chose a limited palette of materials and building techniques that did not require expensive labor costs or expensive tools and machines. Instead, the project uses materials and techniques that are common in the project area and thereby avoids excessive additional costs associated with imported materials or non-standard building techniques. Another important aspect to consider while discussing how affordability was taken into account concerns the repetition of elements in the design. On the one hand, we can conclude that the project is very efficient in avoiding too many exceptions and benefits from the economy of scale allowed by the systematic repetition of the same dwelling type. On the other hand, this serial repetition of dwellings with the same characteristics was balanced with the introduction of a few exceptions that help to mitigate the perception of a monotonous living environment. These are, for example, the public areas in the corners of the square block and the dwelling units with a mezzanine in the upper floor of the circular block. From the perspective of the residents, the compact size of the dwelling units makes them an affordable alternative compared to other options in the housing market of Guangzhou. Considering that the rental costs are often calculated in relation to the area of an apartment, the cost of renting the 40 square meters units can still be afforded by residents with a lower income. The limited size of the dwelling units is compensated by the introduction of collective and public areas that can be used by the residents. These shared spaces not only contribute to promote more social interaction, but also provide an affordable solution to replace the reduced area for socializing in the private dwelling units. The Tulu collective housing project does not include owner-occupied units. All the dwellings are owned by the real estate company, Shenzhen Vanke, who rents them to the residents. This means that the maintenance costs are assigned to the owner of the building and that the residents are exempt from such costs.